The anime starts on a normal day as Akira wakes up from a nap, realizing the school day is over. A goofball meets her and tries to get her contact, but she pulls a Batman exit on him, leaving for her part-time job. While working, she spots the manager apologizing to a customer, and she can't resist creating a crater in the ground with how hard she's falling for him. Later, the cashier hag tells Akira to take a break, and she is surprised to meet a kid in the break room. When she asks the hag about him, she says he's the manager's son, which makes Akira's soul log out of her body. Following this, she hangs out with the kid in the office, feeling awkward about the manager being married. After the kid finishes his homework, he immediately whips out a musical recorder, but Akira stops him. When the manager doesn't hear any noise for a while, he decides to check on them, only to find no one in the office. Meanwhile, Akira teaches the kid how to play the recorder properly while singing over him since he's similar to the manager, and just then the manager finds them there. He thanks her for looking after the kid, and she tells him it was no bother with a smile on her face as she seems back in her lovey-dovey mode. When Akira joins the hag, she reveals that the manager's wife divorced him a while ago, which makes Akira's brain shut down. When the manager checks on her, she stares intensely at him while looking like a tomato, and he thinks she wants to punch him. The following day at school, Akira's friends hang out with her during lunch. They spot the hottie of the school and suddenly get very excited, but Akira isn't freaked out by his looks. They ask what type of guy she's into while Yashua eavesdrops on them, and as she describes the manager, Yashua tries imitating her description. As her friends mock her for being into someone who is almost a birthday away from being a sugar daddy, Akira becomes annoyed and walks off. After school, Akira heads to the cafe, and while working, she asks her colleague to describe the type of guy she likes. While she's at it, Akira asks if she's interested in the manager, but she says he smells like skunk fart, and just as she says this, the manager joins them and awkwardly tries to play it off. While Akira takes a break, she sees the manager's shirt in the office and gives in to her urges, snorting the shirt like it's Colombian snow. While remembering the day she first met the manager while waiting for the rain to stop, she remembers how well he treated her and how she was raised up by him. Just then, the manager walks in on her, and she immediately returns to her seat, acting like nothing happened, leaving him confused. Later, while the other workers head home, Akira stays behind with the manager so he can arrange her workdays for the month, and he notices her glaring at him, but she tries to deny it. After this, she asks if he is on any social media platform so she can get his username, but the old head doesn't even know what a username is, so she gives up and heads home. Just then, he spots Yashua meeting up with her, whom he assumes is her boyfriend, and this reminds him of a younger version of himself. Meanwhile, as Yashua struggles to get Akira's contact, she bails on him and heads home. The following day, Akira arrives at work as usual, and the manager calls everyone together to announce that a new staff member will be joining them. Then he introduces Yashua, and her colleague immediately falls for him. After this, Yashua keeps trying to make contact with Akira, but the cook always drags him back to work while Akira ignores him, and her colleague thinks he is acting cute, stating that he must be popular at school, but Akira doesn't see what's so pleasing in him. Just then, the manager overhears them talking and realizes that Yashua was the boy he saw with her the previous day, making him act weird as he thinks about their supposed young love. This creeps Akira's colleague out, but she finds it charming. Since it's a slow day at work, Akira's colleague suggests that they mention things that make their heart flutter to pass the time, and while doing this, everyone feels the strong feminine energy coming from them. Just then, Akira spots the manager and becomes too shy to talk, running off to continue working while her friend tries calling her back. While she cleans up, she notices that a customer has forgotten his phone, so she quickly informs Kondo, and he rushes to see if he can catch up with the customer, but sees that he's far out of his reach. Just then, Akira figures that she can reach him since he'll stop at a traffic light, so she grabs the phone from Kondo and turns into Prime Usain Bolt. Meanwhile, Yashua tells the other staff about Akira, claiming that they're classmates, but the only thing he knows about her is that she runs really fast and was a member of the track club until she got injured. Then the airhead breaks a ton of dishes. On the other hand, Kondo is amazed by how fast Akira is, and while he is praising her, she suddenly falls to the ground, which makes him panic. As he rushes in to grab his car keys, he sees the mess Yoshi made, but he is not bothered by it since he is in a hurry to take Tachibana to the clinic. He then drives his car towards her and prays that the FBI don't pull up on him while he lifts her by her waist to drop her in the car, which makes Akira go into Cloud 9. While he panics, she tells him to drop her at her usual clinic not so far away from the cafe. When they get there, the doctor tells Kondo to take a chill pill, and then asks Akira to remove her socks so he can take a look at her injury. Just then, Kondo becomes very focused on her feet, and this makes her feel weird, so she tells him to get back to the cafe. Before leaving, he tries figuring out how to get her stuff from the cafe to her, and suggests he hand it to Yashua since he assumes he's her boyfriend. However, she immediately corrects his wrong idea. After this, she says she'll pick them up on her way home, and as he leaves, the doctor gets to work. He then informs her that it's a slight inflammation and asks if she's ashamed to show people her scars, but she says she isn't really hiding it from people, which confuses him. Later on, she picks up her stuff from the cafe, and her colleague sees her off. Later that night, she thinks back on how Kondo lifted her and the butterflies in her stomach go crazy. Just then, she gets a call from a strange number and soon realizes it's Kondo, which makes her excited. While they talk, he explains that he is calling to check in on her and says that she shouldn't hesitate to call him if she needs anything, which makes her happy since she now has his contact. The following day, Akira gets really bored at home, so she decides to take a stroll to the convenience store, and on her way there, she runs into Kondo, who says he wanted to visit her to apologize to her parents because she got injured on his watch. But she says that her mother is at work, so the two head to a nearby cafe, and Kondo orders some snacks for her. While they talk, he apologizes for not checking with her before visiting and suggests that he reschedule for another time, but she tells him not to, making him think she doesn't want him to come around. Just then, he asks if her leg is doing better and takes a look at it, only to see her red nails, which he assumes are because of the injury, making him panic. Seeing this, she quickly explains that she painted her nails, and then educates him on the difference between manicure and pedicure. Seeing how clueless he is, she begins to laugh at him and stops when she notices him staring at her, so he explains that she seems more relaxed than she usually is, then goes to get some coffee. As he returns, he explains that he just had a case of deja vu while the waiter serves them, and as he blabs on about how developed her area is, claiming that she shouldn't have gone too far from home to find a part-time job, she randomly blurts that she likes Kondo. After a moment of awkward silence, he just smiles and says he's glad she likes him since he thought she hated him, then calls for the waiter so he'll order more food for her. The next morning, Akira thinks back on what happened, wondering why he responded that way, and assumes that she didn't make her feelings clear enough, then prepares for school. Later at school, while her friend is hanging out with her, she's still lost in thought, feeling bothered by what happened, and suddenly asks them if she can have their opinion on something, which surprises them since she rarely talks to them about stuff that's bugging her. However, she suddenly changes her mind and decides to keep it to herself, which disappoints them. After school, she bumps into a friend of hers who is on the track team, and while they talk, her friend reveals that they miss her on the team. Just then, she invites Akira to watch her practice so she can give her some pointers on how to be faster, and the two head to the tracks. When they arrive there, Haruno is shocked to see Akira. After this, Akira sits by the sidelines and watches the chick as she starts practicing, and this reminds her of when she was still at the club, thinking back on how much fun she had. Suddenly, she stands up to leave, but before this, Haruno invites her to hang out with him after practice, and even when she turns them down, her junior insists that she join them. This annoys Akira, causing her to rudely turn down her suggestion, which she apologizes for, and walks away as it begins to rain. As she heads to the cafe, she recalls the practice she had at the track club and how her mates praised her for being very fast. She thinks back to when she started having issues with her ankle, but she ignored it and kept on pushing herself even when her coach advised her not to overdo it. Eventually, she got injured while practicing and could not walk for a while, which made her depressed as she had to quit the track team, and then she finally met Kondo. Meanwhile, at the cafe, as Kondo takes a break from working, he spots Akira walking under the rain and rushes to meet her, telling her to come in. However, she suddenly confesses to him and walks away, leaving him confused. While on his way home, he thinks back on what she said and tries not to read any meaning into it. A few days later, while cleaning up the cafe, Kondo realizes that Akira was resuming work that day and wonders how he should act towards her. Suddenly, she walks past him and he casually greets her before it registers in his brain that she had just passed by him. Seeing how normal she's acting, he wonders if her confession was just a dream and eventually concludes that she was playing a prank on him since she couldn't possibly like a bag of bones like him. Later on, while Akira has lunch with him in the office, she approaches him with a scary expression on her face to tell him that her mother sent her thanks for the apology gift he sent, which frightens him, and then she suddenly asks if he has feelings for her. But before he can answer, they are interrupted by her colleague who invites her to karaoke. After Akira turns down her request, claiming that she has a cold, her friend leaves without her and Kondo realizes that Akira was serious about her confession. Then he offers to drive her to the train station on her way home. After they close up the cafe, the two head to the station, and on their way, he tells her he can't answer what she asked him earlier. However, she insists that he respond to her, and even when he tries to explain why things can't work between them, she disregards all of his reasons, resounding her feelings for him, which almost makes him ice-sky them. Seeing how sad she looks, he suggests they take a stroll for some fresh air, and they find a cool spot to talk. After a moment of awkward silence, he asks why she likes him, and she says she just has feelings for him without any reason. Just then, he begins to feel nostalgic, remembering when he was still young, and then tells her to reconsider her feelings for him since he was an empty man with no hopes or dreams. However, she laughs off his statement, which makes him nervous and causes him to mistakenly ask her out on a date to prove that she'll be creeped out. To his surprise, she gets really excited by this, and even though he said it as a joke, she pressures him to confirm their date. The following day at school, while Akira's lessons are ongoing, she is busy in an imaginary land thinking about Kondo and making doodles of him in her notebook. Later that day, Kei walks into the office to prepare for his shift and meets Kondo apologizing to a customer on the phone. After this, he tells Kei to trim his hair and informs him about the new shift roster he drafted, telling him to take a look at it before he starts working. Later on, while Akira is taking a look at the roster, Kondo walks in and she seems flustered as she sees him. After they say hi to each other, he takes his seat to work for a bit and she points out that he has the weekend off, stating that she also has the same day off, so she brings up the day thing they talked about. Even when he tries explaining that he was joking about it, she corners him into agreeing to go out with her that weekend before heading out to prepare for her shift. Just then, she meets Kei making a call outside the office talking about tutoring a high schooler, and he immediately sounds disappointed to find out that it's a guy he's going to tutor. After this, he meets Akira talking to her pal in the kitchen and asks what she'd like for lunch, so she says she'd like to have a sandwich. As he prepares the meal for her, he begins to think of her like she's a black and orange hub actor, but soon shakes off the thoughts, handing her the dish. When she points out the extra side dish he added, he explains that it's on him, so she thanks him with a stone-cold expression and heads to the office to eat. After a while, he joins her there, and immediately she decides to resume her work, but before she can leave, he spots the book she was reading, asking if he can take a look at it, which she agrees to. After a couple of minutes, she remembers that she had doodled about her feelings for Kondo in that book and rushes in to stop Kei from seeing it, but she's too late. She then asks him not to tell anyone about it, and he says he'll keep her secret if she goes on a date with him. The following day, she meets up with him and he expresses his surprise that she came to see him even though she had school that day, so she explains that she left school on time so she could meet up with him. After this, he tells her to come with him and the two take a stroll around the city before heading to the cinema. While there, he tells her it's a pretty scary movie they are about to see and tries teasing her, saying he won't blame her if she squeezes his hands, but she gives him a response that's drier than the Sahara Desert. While watching a movie, he keeps glancing at her for any reaction, but she is cooler than the North Pole, and this bugs him. After the movie, she tells him she's going home, and he asks if she won't have something to eat, but she says her mom made dinner for her already. She then pulls out some cash to give him for the movie they watched, and he drags her to have some tea since they're on a date. While at the cafe, he asks if she ran track, and she says she doesn't anymore since she got injured. He then says that Yashawa mentioned that she used to run really fast and asks how she feels now that she can't do what she felt really passionate about, posing like a douchebag to get a response from her. However, she maintains her cool, telling him that she got depressed for a while but eventually bounced back to normal since she started working at the cafe, and he then asks if it's because of Kondo, which makes her nervous. Feeling annoyed, she reminds him of the deal they made to keep her secret, and he feels triggered since he hasn't had a nice time on the date to get back at her. He claims that she developed feelings for Kondo because she couldn't be on the track team anymore, claiming that it's creepy since Kondo's birth certificate dates back to the Ice Age, and this makes her crash out as she walks out on him. After a while of following her, he grabs her while she lashes out at him, and just then Kondo calls her on her phone, so she runs to someplace private to answer him. When she picks up the phone, Kondo asks if she has any particular plans for their proposed date, and she says she doesn't, so he says he'll make arrangements for everything before hanging up. Immediately, Akira becomes happier than a kid in Disneyland, and Kei, who overheard everything, asks if she likes Kondo that much, claiming that their relationship won't work. He also says that she should look for better options and then gives her a peck on her cheek, which makes her skin crawl. Then he walks away, stating that they'll pick up from where they left off next time they see. Later at home, after taking a deep bath, Akira meets her mom holding the pamphlet of the movie she saw and tells her to toss it out before heading to her room. While there, she stares at Kondo's number while thinking about the call, and Kei suddenly pops into her head, causing her to wipe her cheek once more. On the weekend, Akira meets up with Kondo at the same spot that Kei waited for her, and he can't help but stare at her since she's on her fine vibe. After telling her she looks like a 10 out of 10, they start the date and head to the cinema to watch the same movie Akira saw with Kei. While watching, Kondo has his full attention on the movie, and Akira's attention is on Kondo. After this, Kondo asks if she had a nice time, and she says it's a great movie even though she's seen it before. Hearing this, he is relieved that she's having fun and suggests they head back home, but she says they should have a drink together. They then head to the same cafe Kei took her to, and she hides her face from the waiter while taking her order since she's there with another dude. After taking their order, Kondo begins talking like he's older than Turbo Granny and apologizes to her for acting like that. He then asks if she goes to that cafe often, and she doesn't give a definite answer to the question, but starts packing so much sugar in his coffee that it could give him type 2 diabetes. When he takes a sip of the coffee, it reminds him of a date he went on as a younger man, and this makes him smile. While they're having their drinks, Kondo realizes that the cafe is packed with young couples, and this makes him uncomfortable, so he suggests they leave. After rushing out of the cafe with Akira, the two take a walk, and he gets a call from the cafe. While he answers the call, Akira decides to take a look at the scenery, and when he gets off the call, he spots her looking like a Disney princess, which makes him think of how youthful she is, making him sad since his best days are behind him. While he apologizes for having to get back to the cafe, he justifies the distance he's trying to create between them since he doesn't want to get hurt, and as she walks away, he thinks she didn't have a great time on the date, which made him feel a bit sad. She then sees him off to the train station, and as she watches him walk away, she pictures herself running to him to kiss him on his cheek. but she is too chicken to move to him, so she heads home. Later that night, she sees that her mom had gotten the pamphlets of both dates mixed up, and this pisses her off. Although her mom doesn't see why she's upset since they're exactly the same, Akira knows the significance of the one she got from Kondo. A few days later, Akira meets Tsubu holding a box outside the cafe, and when she takes him in, he shows them the hamster in the box. After he explains that his friend gifted it to him, they ask if he would like to show it to his dad, and they realize he can't do so since his father had the day off. However, Tsubu says he knows where Kondo lives and decides to get there on his own, but they tell him it's too risky for him to go alone, so Akira volunteers to take him there. After walking for a while, the two arrive at their destination, and Tsubu immediately rings the doorbell. They soon realize he's not at home, and Tsubu goes ahead to open the door, and the two head inside. As she takes off her shoes and places them beside Kondo's shoe, she starts feeling like a waifu, and Tsubu soon snaps her out of her jinjutsu, inviting her into Kondo's room. Seeing the disorganized room, she still feels in love. And while Tsubu plays around, she takes a look at his library only to find a book of magic tricks which reminds her of the trick he did when he first met her. Just then, she spots a room by her side and peeks into it through the keyhole, seeing that it's his study, which makes her feel warm and cozy. Just then, Tsubu snaps her out of her fantasy land and tells her he's hungry, so she switches to chef mode and looks around for something to prepare. She then begins making a meal for the kid, and this makes her feel like Kondo's main squeeze. After a while, she serves him the dish, and he happily thanks her. Before he can dig in, he hears Kondo walking towards the door and suggests that they surprise him while picking up their shoes to hide them. As Kondo steps into the house, Tsubu jumps out to welcome him, which scares him, and while he's still recovering from this, he spots the dish Akira made on the table. However, Tsubu claims he made the dish, which shocks Kondo. And while he asks Tsubu if his mom knows he's at Kondo's place, Akira eavesdrops on them from his storage room. While they sit to eat, Kondo still can't believe that Tsubu made the dish himself and asks to have a taste of it since it looks so good, making Akira nervous. As he takes a bite of it, he comments that it's a little salty, and this breaks Akira's spirit. While they continue eating, Tsubu judges Kondo for always having dumplings, and Kondo replies that he has no shame in having them all the time since they are his favorite food. As they talk, Kondo remembers that Tsubu's summer break is coming up and asks if he has any plans. In response, Tsubu tells him that he wants to do radio calisthenics, and then Uno reverses the question to him. Kondo explains that he does not get to have any summer breaks because of his job and that he spends most of his free time reading. However, he mentions that he recently went to the movies after ages, which surprises Amamura, causing her to make some noise. Hearing this, Kondo asks the kid if he heard the noise, but he says it may just be a ghost. As Kondo tries to find out where the noise came from, he spots the hamster Tsubu brought, which shocks him. After the kid introduces the hamster to him, Kondo realizes that he wanted to show him the hamster and asks the kid if he wants to keep it as a pet. However, the kid says Kondo will be taking care of it, which takes Kondo by surprise. Meanwhile, Akira begins to melt like butter in a furnace because of the heat, and the two keep talking, with Kondo refusing to take the hamster as a pet because he is too busy with work. When he tells the kid to keep it at his mom's place, the kid explains that his mom would not let him and says that he can come over to see Kondo more often if it is at his place. Seeing the desperate look on the kid's face, Kondo says he will think about it. While he is still talking, Akira flies out of the closet like a torpedo as she cannot take the heat anymore, which scares the crap out of him. As he asks what she is doing there, he notices that she is very weak, so he tells the kid to get some tea for her. After the kid rushes to get it, he runs back to hand it to Kondo and suddenly trips, spilling the tea on Akira's uniform. After this, as Akira changes into a shirt, Kondo feels uneasy and says that she does not have to if it is uncomfortable for her, but she is more than happy to wear his shirt. Following this, he decides to clean her uniform but realizes his washing machine is occupied with his clothes. So he decides to head to a laundry mart and tells Yodo to apologize to Akira before he heads out. Just then, Yodo breaks down in tears as he apologizes to her, and Akira consoles him, then asks after the hamster. While they stare at it, Akira feels the butterflies in her stomach having a party as she balls up in Kondo's shirt. On the other hand, Kondo tries to figure out what Akira was doing at his house. Later on, while Akira is waiting at the house with Yudo, she gets curious about Kondo and asks if he likes to read novels. In response, Yuoto confirms that Kondo loves to read. As they talk, she notices that the rain starts pouring. Meanwhile, Kondo realizes that he is stuck there since he did not bring an umbrella, and just then he spots Akira walking with Yuoto towards him. After they hand him an umbrella, the three of them begin to walk home. While Kondo chats with Akira, she suddenly says that she wants to know more about him, which makes his heart flutter. While he is still booting, she tells him it is a lot of work to care for a hamster, and this snaps him back to reality, making him freak out. The following day at the cafe, Kondo ponders what Akira said and realizes that he had a wrong assumption that her feelings for him died at the end of their date. Suddenly, Akira walks in, which makes him very nervous. While he tries to keep his cool, she decides to hand him a note, but before she can give it to him, a staff member interrupts her and asks Kondo about the hamster, telling him to come to her if he needs any advice on how to take care of it. Meanwhile, Akira pulls the shinobi disappearance move. Later on, Akira tries handing him the note again, and once more, she gets interrupted as everyone crowds Kondo, asking about the hamster, which makes Kondo happy since he has not been able to bond with his staff. Following this, Akira tries talking to Yui about the manager, but she is still stuck on the fact that he does not know what a deodorant is, and this hurts Kondo, who overhears their conversation, but he is more concerned that he is bothered by what she said since he normally does not care about stuff like that. Later on, Akira returns to the kitchen with orders from the customers, only to find no one there, and Cass tells her they are all in the staff room with a manager, so she angrily walks there and scolds them, telling them to get back to work. After they all leave, she tells Kondo to come to her if he needs advice about the hamster, and finally hands him the note about how to take care of it. Some days later, Akira thinks about the kind of books Kondo would be into, and while she takes a look at the books section, Haruno sees her there. Just then, her younger brother asks why she is staring at Akira and asks if she has fought with her since Akira has not hung out with her in a while. While she tries to shut him up, he calls out to Akira, but she does not notice him since Yui meets up with her, and after they chat for a while, the two walk away, which makes Haruka a bit upset, and she decides to leave with her brother. The following day, Haruka remembers when she told Akira that she was changing schools back in middle school, and this confused Akira since it was a short time before they graduated. She then explained that her dad would not let her take the train to the school, and this made Akira sad since they would be in different schools for that year's sport competition. Just then, Haruka advised Akira to be a bit patient since they were going to be in the same high school, and this brightened her mood. After waking up feeling sad, Haruka gets set for school and takes a look at a picture of her with Akira before heading there. After a long day at school, Akira decides to head home and meets Haruka with her harem, so she decides to hide for some reason. After sneaking out of school, she waits for the bus under the scorching sun and gets tired, so she decides to walk to the train station. After almost evaporating while walking, she stops at a vending machine for a drink and rests up while soaking in the beautiful view of the city. Just then she gets a notification from Yui asking if she will work that day, and also a picture of Kondo slipping, which makes her chuckle. Later on, she gets to the cafe and works till the end of the day. The following day, while Akira waits at the bus station, two little girls meet her there, and one of them starts making fun of the other's keychain, but the girl says it is a good luck charm to get the person she likes. While the girls chatter like parrots, Akira becomes interested in the keychain and takes a good look at it, which makes the girls freak out. Following this, she decides to get the same keychain nearby, but she keeps getting a different design. While she keeps trying to get it, Haruka bumps into her. After hiding for a while, she decides to meet Akira, asking why she is so persistent, and the two eventually get on the bus together. Following this, Haruka asks what she is planning to do with all the keychains she got and if she got the one she wanted. To get her offer back, Akira says she did not get what she wanted and hands her some of the keychains, which makes her a bit happy. However, she soon notices that Akira is a bit upset, and she decides to tell her what is bugging her, but changes her mind when she hears that their stop is up next. Soon after they get off the bus and begin walking to their destination, Akira informs her that she is there for her remedial class, and the two go their separate ways. After Haruka gets to the racetrack, she gets set for practice, and while she gets on the tracks, she begins thinking about Akira. Shortly after she begins running, she is reminded of when she was a little girl and was running behind Akira, who was faster than the Speed Force. When she finally caught up to her, she asked Akira why she liked running so much, and Akira hit her with the errant speech about freedom. Seeing the bright look on her face, Haruka said she understood why she liked running, and this made Akira excited. Then the two of them resumed running while Haruka snapped back to the present as she got tired. Later on, while Akira waits at the bus stop, Haruka calls out to her and tosses a keychain alongside a note to her. Akira is shocked to see that it is the particular keychain she has been looking for and reads the note that says her friendship with Haruka is not just about running. Following this, the rain suddenly starts pouring as Akira walks home. She decides to complete a side quest of helping around due to get to his destination since he did not have an umbrella. After this, she heads to the library, and while taking a look around, she soon spots Kondo. Immediately, he sees her and he greets her with a loud tone, causing everyone to scold him, and she notices that he has glasses on. While she is still memorizing his face, he tells her he comes there often to read but cannot borrow any of the books since he does not live in that city and asks what she is doing there. When she mentions that she is there to find a pure literature book, he suddenly gets excited, causing everyone to scold him once again. While Akira asks if he has any recommendations for her, explaining that she does not read that much, Kondo then becomes Master Ugwe, advising that she should not read a book just because someone recommended it since she may hate reading because it will seem like a chore, and says that she should pick out a book that is calling out to her instead, adding that she should take a look around the library as it is the best place to find her type of book since it has a sea of books. After this, she takes a look around, thinking that she would have just asked what type of books he liked, and she pictures the library like it is Bikini Bottom while staring at Kondo as he reads. After a while, Kondo finishes up the books he is reading and starts wondering if Akira wanted his input on books to get close to him, but he soon shakes off the thought, concluding that he is not worth that energy. Then he meets up with Akira to tell her that he is heading home, and she says she will leave with him. While chatting on their way out, Akira tells Kondo that she can help him borrow books from the library, and he decides to take up her offer. After picking a book that caught his eye, they head to the counter to check out, and she notices that he has a gloomy look on his face. While they walk home, he does not say a word, and after the two go their separate ways, Kondo keeps staring at the book while Akira stops on her way home to listen to the sound of the wind. Later that night, while reading some of the books she got, Akira is bothered by the sad look that was on Kondo's face earlier and wishes she could say something to cheer him up, but decides not to do that over the phone. Then she gets up to prepare for work. Later on, at the restaurant, Yuri tells the other staff about the idea of creating a group chat for the cafe, and they are all interested in making one, but soon realize that Kondo would not be in the group since he uses a flip phone. Just then, Yashawa says there is a way to add Kondo to the group, and Akira suddenly becomes interested in the discussion, claiming that it will be convenient to have one. However, Cass says it is pointless to create one since Kondo would not know how to text, and this kills everyone's spirits, so they all get back to work. Just then, Yashawa decides to take a shot at Akira, but she leaves him on read IRL and heads to the bathroom to come up with a way to text Kondo. Later on, as Kondo is researching the author of the book he borrowed, Akira joins him and thinks of a way to ask him if he would like to text her. Finally, she summons up the courage to speak and instead says she is enjoying the book she borrowed from the library. She then asks if the book he borrowed is interesting and what it is about. After telling her about the book, Kondo mentions that the author is a friend of his, and this makes Akira excited, even though Kondo does not seem so happy to talk about it. She then begins to glaze him, saying he is an awesome person who knows a lot about books, but he dismisses her, saying she knows nothing about him, and this crushes her heart. Meanwhile, Cass overhears the conversation and decides not to butt in. The following day, there is news of an incoming typhoon, and Akira still decides to go to work, but her mom advises her to take the day off, even if it is pouring. Akira still arrives at the cafe, only to find that Kondo is not around, and afterward, she is told that he has a cold. In the kitchen, Granny keeps complaining about Kondo, saying he fell sick on a busy day. By coincidence, Cass is off from work that day, and although the staff seems panicked, Yashawa assures that he will handle everything to impress Akira, who could not care less. They then get order requests, and Akira resumes work, even though she is worried about Kondo. While Akira works, she gets distracted as she thinks about Kondo, and eventually ruins a customer's order. So Granny tells her to quickly remake it, which she does. Later on, Granny is relieved that they got through the day, and realizes that it was not so bad because of the typhoon. Since they have been working so hard, she tells Akira to take a break, and even while having lunch, Akira is still worried about Kondo, thinking of how sad he sounded the last time they spoke. Just then, Cass walks into the office, and Akira is not too pleased to see him. After taking his seat, he says that she should take more care of herself since she is looking sick, and suddenly warns her to stop chasing after Kondo since his position as a manager would be at stake if she continues. Hearing this, Akira looks shocked, and Cass goes on to say that she is probably going after Kondo because she does not want to lose something fun for her again. Meanwhile, Kondo is busy fighting for his life as he is very sick and he is still worried about the cafe, thinking that Kubo would be angry that he cannot go to work. Just then, he hears someone at his door, and even when he ignores it, the person does not go away. So he decides to answer it only to find that it was Akira, and this leaves him speechless. After letting her in, he realizes that the storm is more serious than he thought and sees Akira looking more depressed than a valley. While he takes a seat, he asks if something went wrong at the cafe, and then claims that she always turns up out of nowhere on stormy days. When she admits that she does not know anything about him, he recalls that he said that to her. And as she says she wants to get to know him more, he apologizes for being a bit cold to her, telling her he is not anything special. Even though he keeps pointing out his flaws, she still sees him as a wonderful person, but he waves off her compliment, saying she is way better than him, as she is brilliant and has a brighter future. This triggers her as she asks why she feels so heartbroken about him, and he tries consoling her, telling her that she is just having a phase of youthful experience, which can be rough, and says she will cherish the emotions when she is older. She then asks if she is bugging him with her feelings, and when he tries clearing things up with her, the lights suddenly go out, which freaks him out. He goes on to say that he is actually grateful for her feelings since it reminded him of the treasured emotions that he had forgotten, and this makes Akira relieved. As she bursts into tears, Kondo tries to figure out how best to make her feel less anxious and becomes a human blanket, squeezing her like he is trying to get that last toothpaste out of the tube. While he gets lost in the moment, he soon remembers that he is not Diddy and suddenly moves away, emphasizing that he hugged her as a friend before passing out due to his fever. The next day, Kondo returns to work healthier than ever, and Kubo gets frustrated since Akira is sick and could not show up for work, which confuses Yashawa since Akira was healthy the day before, and Cass seems to have already figured out why she got sick. Meanwhile, Akira's mom scolds her for entering the rain to work the day before as she thinks it is the reason for her sickness and tucks her in bed before leaving for work. Just then, Akira recalls how Kondo sent her home, and that fevered dreams begin to kick in as she hallucinates about the hug they shared. After waking up from it, she has some water and suddenly passes out. Meanwhile, Kondo almost goes crazy from being embarrassed about hugging her. A few days later, Akira fully recovers and shows up to work, and while carrying out her duties, she and Kondo keep pressing on the fact that they are just friends. When Kubo notices this, she reminds Kondo that he is not a friend but their manager, but Kondo is desperate to stick with a friend narrative, and when Yashawa asks to be his friend too, he turns him down without thinking twice, threatening that he will get booted out of the cafe if he does not work hard. Later during lunch, Akira reminisces about her hug with Kondo, and remembers how he was insisting that they are friends. Just then, Yui walks in and notices a pimple on her face while she looks for something to help Akira with it, and Yashawa walks in with a gloomy expression on his face, so Yuka asks what is wrong with him, and he says he might be fired since Kondo complained about his hair being too long, which almost makes the girls burst out laughing. As a solution, Yui suggests she help him cut his hair, claiming that she is a better barber than Scissor 7, and he immediately takes up her offer with joy, saying they should meet after his shift. After he leaves, Yui asks Akira if she is close friends with Yashawa, and considering her friendship with Kondo, Akira says he is more of an acquaintance. Out of the blue, Yui asks if she likes anyone, and this makes her nervous. Then Yui says she wants to be better friends with Yashawa, making Akira realize that she likes him. Yui goes on to say that she really wants to be a hairdresser, but she is not so good at it yet. However, she always wanted a chance with Yashawa, and she gets anxious about cutting his hair, hoping that she hits it off with him. To console her, Akira tells her she will surely hit it off with him, using her experience with Kondo as a reference to motivate her like the female Andrew Tate, concluding that friends can become lovers, and this gets Yui hyped up. Afterward, Yui decides to have her lunch while Akira heads back to work, and before Akira leaves, Yui thanks her for the advice. When she steps out of the office, Akira sees Kondo hanging up posters all around the cafe, and he tells her to drop by the event if she is not so busy. After she sees that it is about an upcoming cultural festival, Kubo says that Kondo is really into it as he does not fail to hang up the posters for the festival every year, and the festival reminds Akira that summertime would soon be over, which makes her a bit sad. Later on, as Kondo takes a break from his work to write in his journal, Akira suddenly pulls up on him, which scares about 10 years out of his lifespan, and says that he should start texting her since friends normally text. After this, while heading out of the cafe, Akira spots Yui getting along with Yashawa while she gives him a haircut, and then she stops on her way home so she can save Kondo's contact, which makes her very excited as she hopes that their friendship will become something more one day. The following day, while taking a break from practice, Haruko tries looking around for Akira and gets distracted as Yamamoto hits her with a ball. As he tries having a chat with her, she becomes very hostile towards him, asking why he is still playing soccer after retiring and also has exams around the corner, but he waves off her questioning. As she walks off, he chases after her, asking after Akira since he has not seen her hanging around Haruko for a while, and she refuses to answer him, running off instead. When he tries chasing after her, his knee starts to give out, so Haruko rushes back to check on him and realizes that his injury made him quit the soccer team. While they talk, Haruko tells him about Akira's injury, opening up about her fears about Akira not wanting to run anymore. But he says he is sure she wants to run and explains that she may be scared of the injury reoccurring, also claiming that the pressure of being the star of the track team must also be getting to her. When he says that Haruko is helping Akira feel better by caring for her, she suddenly feels happy and thanks him for the pep talk. Later on at the cafe, while studying during her lunchtime, Akira decides to take a break, and as she's applying some ointment on her face, Kondo suddenly bursts into the room, making her freak out. As he walks in, he asks what she's working on, and when she mentions the novel, he suddenly gets very excited, explaining that he recently read it, so he decides to help her out. After quoting some lines from the novel, he asks where she's having problems. Seeing the question, he begins to criticize how badly structured it is since the answer would vary with different individuals' points of view. But Akira says that the question wouldn't affect her grade. He tells her it will be more fun since she can freely imagine the character's motives, then begins to passionately pour out his opinion about the plot of the story and how the protagonist was robbed for a just cause, which draws Akira's interest. After hearing him out, she asks if he would be able to do the same, and he says that he can't since his aim is to avoid causing as much trouble as he can. After this, he throws the same question at her, which surprises her, and when he sees she's having a difficult time answering, he decides to move on from it, only to find the doodles she made of him, which scares another 15 years from his lifespan. After some minutes of awkward silence, he hears Yui calling for him, and immediately runs to check what she wants while Akira completes her homework. The following day, Yui gets excited for Akira as her pimple has disappeared, and Yashawa suddenly pops out of nowhere, thanking Yui for the haircut, which makes her happy. Afterward, while waiting at the train station, Akira decides to go to the summer festival and invites Haruko to come with her. The summer festival is packed full of people, and shortly after, Haruko meets up with Akira. Her siblings follow behind her, so she explains that they beg to follow her, after which Akira drags her off to have fun. To start off, they visit various food stands, and after grabbing some snacks, Akira chats with Haruko's brother. While they chat, he tells her about the day they saw her at the bookstore, and Akira says they should have just met up with her at the time. Meanwhile, Haruko seems to be bothered about Akira and gets distracted as her siblings call out to her to take them to pee. Since she can't leave them alone, her brother volunteers to take them off her hands in exchange for some money. While they head out, Akira takes Haruko to play a game at a nearby stall, which reminds Haruko of when she used to be very close friend with Akira. While wandering around, Haruko thanks Akira for inviting her to the festival, while Akira notes that they haven't really hung out since she quit the team. As they continue their walk, Haruko brings up the fact that none of them made it past the prelims when they competed in a track competition, and as she is about to invite Akira to join her for track practice, she notices her staring at Kondo. Suddenly, Akira leaves her to meet up with him, and Haruko wonders who Kondo is, noticing how flustered she looked. When Akira returns, she explains that Kondo is her manager at work, and Haruko suddenly asks if she has feelings for him, which makes her freak out. Akira's reaction confirms her suspicion, but she feels it's creepy, and this annoys Akira as she says they should get back to meet the others. Just then, Haruko accuses Akira of not telling her anything anymore, but Akira says Haruko didn't bother to ask, and this triggers Haruko since she tries to talk with Akira, but she always keeps her distance. Just then, the others meet them arguing, and Akira says that she can't be close with Haruko anymore, which hurts her deeply, causing her to run off crying. The others then chase after her, and Akira stands in the crowd feeling sad about what she said. On the other hand, Kondo takes a stroll around the city and gets disappointed when he sees that the bookstore he wanted to visit is closed, so he decides to visit a nearby bar. While walking in, he bumps into a woman and finds that she's holding a book written by Chihiro. He then walks in and meets Chihiro at a table. While they chat, Chihiro orders some snacks for them, and Kondo is surprised to find that he remembered his favorite snack. Just then, Chihiro says he was surprised to hear from Kondo after such a long time, and while making small talk with him, Kondo says he read his book, which makes Chihiro excited. When he asks for his opinion about the book, Kondo says it wasn't too bad, and this triggers Chihiro as he thinks his book is a masterpiece. Their argument draws the attention of other customers, so Chihiro decides to reduce his voice to preserve his aura and goes ahead to hand Kondo a magazine they published together when they were in college. This makes Kondo excited since it brings back a lot of memories of when he was younger and how passionate he used to be about writing. Just then, he spots his ex-wife's name in the book, which upsets him, and Chihiro asks about her, but Kondo isn't up for talking about her, saying they only meet because of Yui. Chihiro then reminds him of the time he blew off their trip to India to get married to her, leaving Chihiro debut alone as a writer, and Kondo apologizes for that. Seeing the sad look on his face, Chihiro asks if Kondo is still writing, and immediately says that he was lying about not doing so anymore. So Kondo says he writes sometimes. Talking about this makes him feel relieved since no one around him knows that he secretly writes novels, and this makes Chihiro worry about him, telling him to talk to him anytime he feels like it, which makes Kondo glad. Afterward, the two take a stroll around, and soon after, Chihiro suggests they take a cab home, but Kondo says he wants to keep walking to clear his head. After a while of walking, Chihiro gets tired and starts throwing a tantrum. Just then, he starts pressing Kondo about writing, and Kondo continues to deny that he's still writing novels. Following this, Chihiro shows him the reflection of the moon on the river and starts giving him a cringe speech about the water always reflecting the moon as long as it stays pure, which makes both of them laugh like hyenas. Soon after, Chihiro stops a cab, and before he leaves, Kondo badgers him a bit, then makes some corrections to the recent work he wrote, which triggers him. As Kondo accuses him of being childish, Chihiro reminds him that they're the same, leaving Kondo speechless as the cab drives off. After this, Kondo spots some drunk college students passing by, and this reminds him of when he was in college with Chihiro, making him wish he could go back in time. On the day of a new semester, Akira meets her pals at the school entrance, and while they chat, she spots Haruko walking towards them. Since they're still on bad terms, Haruko runs past them, and this confuses everyone. Later on, while working at the cafe, Kondo notices that Akira has something on her mind and tries figuring out what may be bugging her. Shortly after, while he takes a break, Akira meets him outside and he decides to ask what's making her look sad, so she says she got into a fight with her friend. After explaining how things got bad between them, she says that she's scared things won't resolve with her, and as he is about to advise her, Yui calls him inside. Later on, as Akira is about to head home, Kondo calls her outside and shows her the huge moon, which makes her excited. While staring at it, he tells her about the time he had a quarrel with a friend of his when he was still a student, and he finally met with that friend after a long time, which made him feel great. He then says that even though she's fighting with her friend at the moment, their friendship won't disappear over time since they share deep bonds, and this makes her feel better. Later that night, Akira sits by her window and stares at the moon while thinking about the quarrel she had with Haruko. Suddenly, she starts taking pictures of the moon, and her mom meets her there asking what she's up to. She then meets Akira and has a little chat with her about the supermoon, teasing her about making wishes. Then she heads to take a bath, but before leaving, she tells Akira to take out some old magazines, and while doing this, Akira spots an article about a book fair and starts cooking up an idea. The following day, she heads to the book fair with Kondo, and after exchanging greetings with him, she says she would love it if he recommended some books for her as her friend, which he agrees to. Shortly after, they begin walking around the fair in search of a book, and suddenly Kondo spots an old geezer he knows. He starts catching up with him, saying that he thought he stopped selling books since he closed up his store, but the man says he only works occasionally since he's growing old, and Kondo then introduces her to the geezer. When the geezer mistakes her for his daughter, Akira quickly says she's his friend, but the man becomes suspicious of them, and Kondo quickly changes the topic by asking if he brought good books. While they talk, Akira picks up an old postcard and becomes interested in it. Seeing this, Kondo tells her a fact about the shortest letter written that contained only a question mark and explains that the relationship between writer and reader was so strong that a single symbol was enough to communicate. Hearing this, the geezer teases Kondo for being a romantic and points him to some books he thinks Kondo would like. While he checks them out, Akira picks out a postcard to show him, but he's too locked in on the books to hear her. After a while, Akira notices that Kondo has disappeared, which makes her panic for a while, and she gets the idea of calling him but changes her mind for some reason. Later on, she gets an invite to a send-off party for the track club third years, but she decides to ignore it and text Kondo instead. On the other hand, Haruko finishes up from practice, and on her way out of school, she sees the notification about the party but decides to ignore it too. After wandering around the fair for a while, Kondo couldn't get any books that are as interesting as the geezer's books, and while he's still searching, he gets a question mark text from Akira. When she gets his response, she is assured that he'll come back for her. While she waits, the old geezer begins to praise Kondo since he's a huge bookworm. While he tells her about Kondo's writing career, Kondo rushes back to meet her and apologizes for getting carried away, but she seems cool with it. He then admits that the geezer's stall has the best books and picks out a book he wants. After a while of bargaining with the store owner, he tells Kondo to pick a postcard for free in addition to the book, and Kondo tells Akira to take the card as a gift, which makes her happy. After this, Kondo sees her off, and before heading home, she finally responds to the invite. On the other hand, Haruko sees Akira's response and decides to respond too. The following day, Akira checks how her leg is doing at the clinic, and the doctor assures her that the leg is healing nicely. Afterward, she leaves for work while her doctor discusses her rehab possibility with a nurse and reveals that it may be hard for Akira to resume sport activity because she isn't mentally ready. Meanwhile, as Kondo eats dinner at a ramen shop, he sees Chihiro being interviewed about his book on TV, which stuns him, and seeing how he talked passionately about novels fills Kondo with regrets. After finishing his meal, Kondo heads home, and on his way, he ponders on what Chihiro said as he used to be passionate like him. Immediately after he gets home, he pulls out boxes of his old manuscripts, which remind him of when he used to write in college. While pulling out the boxes, he comes across a photo of his former wife and kid, which reminds him how he buried himself in writing and eventually pushed away everyone around him, making him a bit depressed. After wallowing in sadness for a while, he puts the boxes back in their place. Later at the cafe, after attending to the customers, Akira notices that Kondo isn't cheerful like he usually is, and during her break, she meets him in his office. She then shows him a book she got at the book fair, and he immediately identifies its origins, asking if she's read it yet, as she admits that the book is a bit complex for her. He finds an old bookmark in it, and she tells him it came with the book. From looking at it, he figures that the previous owner used it a lot, and when she suggests returning it to the bookstore, he tells her not to since it was included as part of the book. As he hands the book to her, telling her to take good care of it, he discovers a special feature of the bookmark. After showing it to her, they start chatting about a bird's nest that used to be by the window, but got destroyed by Kubo through the use of bird droppings. He assured her that all the birds flew off except one that had trouble with its wings, and after staring into space for a while, she asked what would happen to the bird that couldn't fly with the rest. Relating himself to the bird, Kondo says it could find some happiness by staying there, but it would stare up at the sky forever if it chose not to fly with the other birds. He then tries to lighten the mood, and after handing her the book, she says she's glad to hear his words, claiming she would like to read his words someday, which surprises him. She then tells him that she would surely love the novels he would put out, and after she leaves, he smiles from the relief her words gave him since he always wanted someone to tell him it's okay for him to write so passionately. A few days later, during track practice, some track club members discover that a runner from a rival school recently achieved a personal best in the 100-meter race, despite facing the same Achilles tendon injury as Akira. Hearing this, Haruta admits that she already heard about the news but says she didn't know she was badly injured, and they then realize that the girl would be competing at the upcoming track competition, also wondering if she'll beat Akira's record, which bugs Haruko. They then admit that they'd be disappointed if Akira never raced again, and when Haruko begins training, she thinks about Akira, believing that she'd bounce back soon. Just then, the football team arrives for practice, and Haruko tells her girls to get off the pitch. Meanwhile, Akira is busy drafting out her shift request for the month, and she can't help but smile as she thinks of Kondo. Later on, Haruko closes club activities for the day, and while on her way home, it begins to rain, leaving her stranded at the bus stop. While waiting, she gets a notification on her phone and sees Kurata beating her personal best record, but Haruko feels relieved that she didn't come close to Akira's record. Just then, she spots Akira walking past and calls out to her, but Akira doesn't hear her, so she runs to catch her, but gets stopped by an oncoming car and soon loses track of her, making her sad. Meanwhile, Akira arrives at the cafe, and after changing into her work clothes, she sees the update about Kurata on her phone before meeting Kondo to submit her November shift request. Seeing how extensive the work hours are, Kondo hesitates to approve it, but before he can talk things over with her, Kubo reminds him about his meeting with the higher-ups and he rushes out in a hurry while Akira gets back to work. On his way, Kondo realizes he forgot something important, and on the other hand, Haruko surprises Akira at her workplace. On arriving at the cafe, Kondo overhears the girls talking, and after ordering something, Haruko implores Akira to return to track and field as she fears that she may never come back, which would cause their friendship to grow far apart. Before leaving, she shares Kurata's story, and this brings a spark to her eyes while Haruko says she'll be waiting for her. The following day, while checking out movies at the convenience store, Kondo learns that one of Chihiro's books is being adapted into a film, which makes him excited, so he calls him to congratulate him, and he is unexpectedly visited by Chihiro at his apartment. After they head in, they bond over coffee and writing exercises, which reminds Kondo of their writing days in school. While they talk, Kondo begins to criticize himself, saying he no longer knows how to write. Following this, Kondo expresses how proud he is of Chihiro's achievements and congratulates Chihiro on the film. However, Chihiro reveals his disdain for his own novel, admitting that he only wrote it because he believed it would be popular, and this backfired against him since everyone expects him to come up with successive banger stories without fumbling a single chapter, claiming that he visited him to caution himself. Kondo then expresses his inability to return to his previous writing style, but Chihiro suggests that Kondo simply chooses not to. In response, Kondo says he knows he can't go back to how he used to be, but he wanted to stay true to his aspirations, and Chihiro makes him realize he's living an honest life while still chasing after his dream. After chatting for a while, the two burn some leaves on his balcony, and Chihiro mocks Kondo because of the terrible view from his balcony. That night, Kondo finds himself compelled to start writing once again, and on the other hand, Akira feels restless as she stares at the update on Kurata, then she stares at her racing shoes. The following day at the cafe, Akira gets lost in thought about Haruko's invitation and soon snaps back to reality as a little kid hands her a phone that another customer left behind. She then goes outside to look for the owner and sees that they've already walked far away, but she's too scared to run after them. Later that day, Kondo thinks about the conversation he had with Akira the previous day, and while Akira gets set to go home, he calls her to discuss the shift roster she submitted. He then begins to question Tachibana, asking if there is truly nothing else she would rather do than work there, which triggers her, and she angrily insists that there is nothing else she wants to do before heading home under the rain, feeling depressed. The following morning, Akira manages to crawl out of bed as she is still upset, and on the other hand, Kondo is so locked in on his writing that he doesn't realize it's morning. Following this, Akira arrives at school and is immediately crowded by her pals. Meanwhile, Haruko heads to the train, and on her way, she realizes that visiting Akira at the restaurant might have been a mistake, but she shakes off the thought and gets on with her day. On the other hand, Kondo proceeds to arrange the month's shift roster and gets lost in thought about his encounter with Akira the previous day, but soon snaps back to reality to continue working. Meanwhile, at school, Akira contemplates discarding her school's career path survey, but ultimately decides against it. Later at the cafe, Kondo puts Kubo in charge of the place since he has a meeting at the head office, and he gets nervous when he spots Akira, causing him to rush out of there. After this, Yui chats about her aspiration to be a hairstylist, and while they're talking, Yashawa asked her to cut his hair later that evening, making her happy. After a while, as Akira relaxes in the office, she overhears Yui making good progress with Yoshi as she cuts his hair, and she decides to have coffee instead of her usual sandwich, even though it tastes awful for her. After working for a while, the group is worried as Kondo still hasn't returned. While they talk, Kubo speculates that Kondo's frequent visits to the head office may be an indication of a possible promotion. In the meantime, Kondo gets home and continues dedicating his night to writing. The following day at school, while Haruko prepares for practice, she sees some first years that remind her of the first time she and Akira saw racetracks and the promise they made to pursue track together. Later on, at the cafe during her break, Akira meets Yudo in the office and asks what happened to him since he has a bandage on his nose, so he explains that he fell during track practice in PE class. While they chat, he asks if she knows how to run, and when she says she runs fast, he asks her to teach him how to run. She then takes him outside to practice, and while running, he falls on his knees, so she suggests he take a break, but he says he won't stop as he made a promise to his father to keep running until he crosses the finish line. Hearing this, she resumes giving him tips to get better, and seeing him triggers memories of her track days. After this, while she prepares to go home, she bumps into Kondo, who expresses his gratitude to Akira for training him. While they talk, he reveals that he too made a promise to continue writing. Just then, he hands her the shift roster that he arranged according to her request, and before she leaves, he asks if she is neglecting a promise of her own. Later that night, Akira decides to look at photos she took with Haruko when they were first years, and she soon comes across a rehabilitation guide that she starts reading. The following day at the cafe, Kondo announces that his recent visits were related to a new restaurant menu, and after the meeting, he heads out to the head office. Just then, they realize he left his binder behind, so Akira quickly goes after him with it. Just then, she spots him standing far away from her and slowly jogs to meet him. While talking to her, he suddenly gets a phone call, so Akira starts to head back to the restaurant, but Kondo suddenly calls after her, causing her to sprint towards him. After they embrace, the two agree to inform each other when they fulfill their respective promises, and as they head their separate ways, Akira sends a text to Haruko, expressing her desire to return to track.